Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reaffirms Washington's commitment to confront Iran's malign activities throughout the Middle East and separately calls on Saudi Arabia to normalize its relations with the Jewish state. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu emphasizes that so long Hezbollah controls Lebanon, there cannot be peace between Jerusalem and Beirut. Russia warns Turkey about overreaching itself into areas in the southern Caucasus that may steer Moscow from diplomacy to war. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo hosted his Saudi counterpart Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud in Washington, during which the top American diplomat reiterated a mutual willingness to bolster bilateral security and economic ties, as well as elevate the partnership between the two nations. In a State Department press conference, Secretary Pompeo also reaffirmed Washington and Riyadh's mutual commitment to counter Iran's malign activities, which both top diplomats insist threatens regional security and prosperity.
Today, we reaffirmed our mutual commitment to countering Iranian malign activity and the threat it poses to regional security and prosperity, and the security of the American people as well. The United States supports a robust program of arms sales to Saudi Arabia, a line of effort that helps the kingdom protect its citizens and sustains American jobs.
The Iranian regime continues to provide financial and material support to terrorist groups, including in Yemen, where the Houthis have launched more than 300 Iranian-made ballistic missiles and drones towards the kingdom. Their development of their nuclear program and ballistic missiles and their malign activities represent a grave danger to the region and the world. We are both committed to counter and deter Iran's destabilizing behavior.
Secretary Pompeo also seized the opportunity to mention the recently adopted Abraham Accords and called on Saudi Arabia to also consider normalizing relations with the Jewish state.
I also raised how the Abraham Accords brokered by President Trump contribute greatly to our shared goals for regional peace and security. They reflect a changing dynamic in the region, one in which countries rightly recognize the need for regional cooperation to counter Iranian influence and generate prosperity. We hope Saudi Arabia will consider normalizing its relationships as well, and we want to thank them for the assistance they've had in the success of the Abraham Accords so far. We hope, too, that the kingdom will encourage the Palestinian side to return to dialogue and negotiation with Israel. Doing so would only add to the kingdom's tremendous progress in promoting regional peace and prosperity on many fronts.
Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, the Israeli parliament, or Knesset in Hebrew, legally ratified Israel's recent agreement to normalize its relations with the United Arab Emirates. Speaking to the plenum ahead of the vote, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted that the primary turning point in the attitude of regional Arab states toward Israel was the moment Israel faced the entire world to warn of the horrific scenario in which the Islamic Republic of Iran would attain nuclear weapon capabilities. Netanyahu further emphasized Israel's Zionist doctrine in all that pertains to security and peace.
מאז ראשית ימי הציונות, ידנו האחת אוחזת בנשק המגן, וידנו השנייה מושטת לשלום לכל מי שרוצה בשלום. אומרים ששלום עושים עם אויב. לא. שלום עושים עם מי שחדל להיות אויב. שלום עושים עם מי שרוצה בשלום, ולא עם מי שנשאר מחויב להשמדתך.
The Israeli premier went on to address the renewed negotiations between Jerusalem and Beirut on maritime border demarcation, which could potentially lead to genuine peace between the two neighbors in the future.
למשל, כל עוד חיזבאללה ממשיך לשלוט בפועל בלבנון, לא ייתכן שלום אמת עם מדינה זו. אבל התחלנו שיחות אתמול על תחום הגבול הימי בינינו לבין לבנון, דבר שיש לו משמעות כלכלית פוטנציאלית עצומה, גם להם וגם לנו. ואני קורא לממשלת לבנון להמשיך ולהשלים את השיחות הללו לתחום הגבול הימי, וייתכן שהדבר הזה יסמן את הסדק הראשון ליום אחר שיגיע בעתיד, להשגת שלום אמת.
While Israel and Lebanon are evidently persisting with negotiations on their maritime border demarcation, specifically a triangle that covers an area of approximately 850 square kilometers or 328 square miles, commonly referred to as Block 9, slightly westward from there, tensions are seemingly on the rise between a number of EU member states and Turkey. Tensions have intensified in recent days after Ankara's decision to re-engage in offshore energy exploration in contentious waters, a mere 6 nautical miles south of the Greek island of Castellorezo, which is situated near Turkey's southern border. In response to this move, alongside another Turkish decision to reopen a disputed territory in the buffer zone of Varosha in Cyprus, German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas, whose country spearheaded the objection to impose sanctions against Turkey from within Europe, voiced Berlin's frustration during a meeting in Athens with Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis.
Wir haben in den letzten Wochen und Monaten, wie ich finde, gemeinsam geschafft, den Konflikt, den es zwischen der Türkei und Griechenland gibt, auf eine diplomatische Spur zu bringen. Ich bin sehr froh darüber, dass unter ganz wesentlicher Mithilfe des griechischen Ministerpräsidenten es möglich gewesen ist, vor einiger Zeit anzukündigen, dass die direkten Gespräche stattfinden sollen. Und wir sind deshalb außerordentlich erstaunt darüber, was wir in den letzten Tagen von der türkischen Seite gesehen haben, sowohl die Eröffnung des Strandes in Varosha als auch die Tatsache, dass die Orcus Reis wieder in See stach und das eigentlich komplett dem Geist dessen widerspricht, was wir vereinbart haben, nämlich in einer Atmosphäre der Verlässlichkeit und des Vertrauens mit diplomatischen Mitteln versuchen, diesen Konflikt zu entschärfen.
The Greek Prime Minister, for his part, voiced Athens' frustration by highlighting to Berlin's top diplomat the necessity to counter Ankara's evident choice.
I think we offered Turkey a very clear choice at the recent European Council, renewed partnership or face consequences should this aggressive behavior continue. And unfortunately, it seems for the moment that Turkey has chosen the second path.
The clear anger mounting in Europe is seemingly not impressing Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who boasted over Turkey's latest actions in an address to his AK party in Ankara.
Doğu Akdeniz'de ülkemizin ve Kıbrıs Türklerinin haklarını, hukuklarını, çıkarlarını gözetmeyen hiçbir planın hayata geçme şansı olmadığını ortaya koyduğumuz sağlam duruşla herkese gösterdik.
The Turkish head of state further revealed that Turkey will expand its offshore gas exploration in the near future, claiming his decision derives from Greek rather than Turkish lack of honesty within international platforms.
Bölgede sondaj yapan Yavuz gemimiz bir süredir yürüttüğü çalışmayı bitirip bakım için limana yanaştı. Bakımını mütakip yeni sondajlar için Akdeniz'e açılacak bu gemimizin güvenliğini donanmamız sağlıyor. Aynı şekilde Oruç Reis sismik araştırma gemimizde bakım çalışmalarının tamamlanmasıyla yeniden Akdeniz'deki görevine döndü. Barbaros Hayrettin Paşa gemimiz ise Akdeniz'deki sismik araştırma çalışmalarına zaten devam ediyor. Avrupa Birliği ve NATO platformlarında yürütülen görüşmelerdeki sözlerini tutmayan Yunanistan'a ve Kıbrıs Rum kesimine hak ettikleri cevapları sahada vermeyi sürdüreceğiz.
It is important to mention that while Turkey seemingly provoked the anger of European powers in the region over its actions in the eastern Mediterranean, including in Libya and Syria, which drew an American condemnation as well, Ankara's growing support for Azerbaijan in the southern Caucasus against Armenia is apparently provoking Russia too. In an interview with domestic Russian media outlets, Moscow's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov responded to a question on whether Ankara was overextending itself, including into territories of Russian priority that may provoke a military response.
Коррективы, конечно, всегда необходимо иметь в виду, но политика на турецком, на любом другом направлении должна, конечно, исходить из реальности. И политика должна избегать материализации принципа о том, что война – это продолжение политики. Это мое глубокое убеждение. Хотя, конечно, наверняка бывают ситуации, когда, если против тебя осуществляется агрессия, то пушки должны перестать молчать.
У нас называется, если не слушаете Лаврова, будете слушать Шойгу.
Ну, я видел маечку.
Да.
Ну, примерно об этом, да.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up Russia in prayer for its salvation and peace, in addition to our ongoing prayers for the peace of Jerusalem, the salvation of Israel, and for all those who are impacted by the corona contagion and its numerous ramifications worldwide. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you an Erev Tov U'Mevorach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.